Ladies and gentlemen, how often do we find ourselves standing in the aftermath of betrayal or emotional warfare? A storm of emotion swirling inside of us, wondering why we weren't enough, wondering why we gave so much, only to be left with nothing but the remnants of a relationship built on false pretenses. Because I'm here to tell you the truth, and it's a hard truth. To swallow those narcissists, they regret losing you, but don't ever expect them to reach out. Because you see, when they discard you, they're not just discarding your love or your presence. They're discarding something far more valuable than they could ever understand. And that's your worth, your essence, your power. When you leave their lives, something shifts, something inside them that they can't quite grasp, because deep down they know they've lost something that they'll never find again. No matter how many people they try to use, no matter how many egos they feed, no matter how many fake smiles they put on for the world to see, they will never be able to replicate what you were to them, because you were something real in a world that they've built entirely on lies and manipulation. The truth is that narcissists never truly know what they had until it's gone. They take, and they take, they drain, and they manipulate, but they never understand the value of what they're taking until they can no longer take it from you. And when you're gone, when you finally pull away, when you finally say enough is enough, they feel a loss, a vacuum so deep that it shakes them to their core. But here's the thing, they'll never admit it, because their pride, their inflated sense of self, their fragile egos won't allow them to show vulnerability. They won't allow themselves to acknowledge that they've lost something that they desperately need, something that they could never replace. And so instead of reaching out to you, instead of coming to terms with their regret, they will move on. They will replace you with someone else or something else. Because the thought of admitting weakness to the very person who saw through their charade is simply too much for them to bear. And this is where the real power lies in your hands, because while they continue to live in their bubble of delusion, you're out here living in reality. You're living with the knowledge that you're worth more than what they were ever able to give you, that you were never meant to be. Someone's emotional punching bag, someone's pawn in their game of control. You were never meant to be the one who always gave and gave, while they took and took you were meant for greatness. You were meant for love that isn't conditional, love that doesn't make you feel small or insignificant, love that doesn't make you question your worth, love that sees you for who you truly are, not for who they want you to be in their toxic little world. When you walk away from a narcissist, you leave behind a void, one that they will try to fill with anything or anyone they can find. But here's the catch. Nothing ever quite fills that hole, because they know deep down that no one will ever be able to give them what you gave them. No one will ever love them in the way you did. No one will ever see them for all the flaws and imperfections that they hide behind their grandiose facade. They might try to replace you with someone new, but that person will always be just a placeholder, always just a fleeting distraction, never quite enough to make them feel whole again. And that's something that will eat away at them every single day. You see, the narcissist operates from a place of fear. They are afraid of being vulnerable. They are afraid of being exposed for who they truly are. Because deep down, they know that without the mask they wear, they are nothing. They know that without the control they exert over others, they have nothing to stand on. So they push people away. They discard them like trash when they no longer serve their purpose in their sick little games. And yet, the moment you're gone, the moment you start playing their game, they feel the weight of their own emptiness pressing down on them, and they regret it. They regret losing you. They regret the way they treated you, the way They took you for granted, but they will never admit it, because doing so would require them to face the ugly truth about themselves, and that's something they can't do, because it would shatter the very foundation of their existence. So when they don't reach out, when they don't come crawling back to you, begging for forgiveness, know this. It's not because they don't regret losing you. It's because their pride and their ego won't allow them to admit the truth. It's because they cannot allow themselves to show that kind of vulnerability to the very person who saw through their lies, who saw them for who they truly are. But trust me when I tell you, they are living with the regret of losing someone as powerful as you. Every single day, they are living with the knowledge that they will never find anyone who can make them feel the way you made them feel. But they won't ever let you see that they won't ever give you the satisfaction of knowing that they are suffering because of their own actions, because that would mean admitting that you were right all along. And here's the kicker. When you look back at them, when you think about all the things they did to you, all the lies they told you, all the ways they manipulated and hurt, you don't feel sorry for them. Don't feel any pity, because their regret is not your burden to carry. Their pain is not your responsibility. They created that pain for themselves. They built that regret with every lie, every betrayal, every cruel word they ever said to you, and now they have to live with the consequences of their actions. So don't let them off the hook. Don't allow them to play the victim when they come crawling back in the future, because trust me when I tell you, they will try. They will try to find a way back into your life when they realize that the grass isn't greener on the other side, when they realize that the people they replaced you with don't give them the same sense of power and control that you did. But when they come back, when they knock on your door, begging for your forgiveness, remember this moment. Remember the strength it took to walk away. Remember that you are better than them. Remember that you are deserving of more than they could ever give you, and don't ever let them back in, because their regret means nothing without change. Their apology means nothing without accountability. Their remorse is nothing but a fleeting feeling that will disappear the moment they find someone else to manipulate and control. And if you let them back into your life, you're just allowing them to do it all over again. You're giving them the chance to hurt you once more. And you deserve so much more than that. You deserve someone who will appreciate you, someone who will see you for who you truly are, and who will love you in a way that fills you up instead of draining you dry. So as you move forward, as you continue to heal from the wounds they left behind, remember this: you are not the one who lost something. You are the one who gained something. You gained the strength to walk away. You gained the clarity to see through their lies. You gained the wisdom to know that you are worthy of so much more than they could ever offer you. And every day that passes, you get stronger, you get wiser, you get closer to the life you were always meant to live without them. And in that strength, in that clarity, in that wisdom, lies your true power, because when you stop waiting for them to regret it, when you stop waiting for them to come back and make things right, you free yourself from the chains they tried to place around you, and that's when you truly begin to live. You see, the narcissist's world is fragile, built upon deception and manipulation. Every moment they spend attempting to control others is a reminder of how deeply insecure they are. It's almost as if their entire existence is a facade, a performance designed to protect them from the overwhelming fear of being seen for what they truly are. And that's where you come in. You were the one person who could see through that mask, the one who understood that their grandiosity was nothing more than a desperate attempt to cover up a hollow soul. That is a threat they cannot allow themselves to face. And so, when they lose you, it's not just about losing a relationship. It's about losing control. losing the one person who saw their true self and chose not to be fooled by it. In their mind, you were never meant to be a permanent fixture. You were meant to fulfill a need, perhaps validation, perhaps a momentary escape from their inner turmoil. But when you walked away, you destroyed the illusion they had so carefully crafted around their life. You took away their ability to manipulate, their power to dictate the terms of the relationship, their ability to control how others saw them. And for that, they will never forgive you. Because, in the narcissist's mind, the world revolves around them. You were simply a part of their narrative, a character they needed to fuel their sense of superiority. The fact that you left them has no place in their story, and so they rewrite it. They move forward, pretending that everything is fine, while inside they are rotting away with the gnawing realization that they will never find someone like you again. But let me make this clear. Their inability to reach out is not a sign of their strength. It's not a testament to their superiority. It's an indication of their weakness. They cannot admit to regret, because doing so would strip them of their power. To reach out would be to acknowledge that you were right, that they failed you, that they lost something they will never get back. And that kind of vulnerability is beyond them. Their ego cannot handle it. So they push that regret deep inside, locking it away where no one can see, all the while convincing themselves that they are better off without you. But deep down, when the lights go off and the noise fades away, they know the truth. They know they lost something irreplaceable, something they took for granted until it was too late. There's a certain darkness that comes with this realization. The narcissist is so consumed by their own reflection that they cannot see the pain they cause. They cannot understand the devastation they leave behind, because for them, everything is about themselves. You are simply a means to an end, and when you no longer serve their purpose, you are discarded. But what they fail to recognize is that people are not disposable. The love, the care, the loyalty you gave was real. And once you walk away, the void left behind is something they cannot fill with their usual tricks and distractions. They may find temporary solace in another person, but it won't last. No one can replace the depth of the connection you shared, because your love was real, your presence was genuine, and even though they can never admit it, even though they will continue to paint you as the villain in their distorted narrative, they regret losing you. You were never just a side character in their story. You were integral. You were the person who saw beyond the surface, who understood them in a way no one else could. And when you left, you took away the only person who ever truly saw them for who they were. That's a loss they will carry with them, even if they refuse to acknowledge it outwardly. They may pretend they don't care, may move on to someone new, but the hole they created when they let you go is one they will never fill. It's like a wound that never heals, a scar that grows deeper with each passing day, and every time they look in the mirror, they are reminded of the one person who knew them better than anyone else, the person they pushed away, the person they will never be able to find again. The hardest part of all this is that the narcissist never learns. They never grow. They never change. They simply continue living in their cycle of self-deception, convincing themselves that they are always in control, always above reproach. And so, when they don't reach out to you, when they don't come crawling back with a heartfelt apology, it's not because they don't care. It's because they cannot admit to their own flaws. They cannot face the truth of what they've done. They cannot bear to be seen as weak, as someone who regrets their actions. They are trapped in a prison of their own making, and they will never allow anyone, especially you, to see the cracks in their armor. But you are free. You are no longer bound by their manipulation, no longer tethered to their games. You are free to move forward, to heal, to rebuild your life. And while the narcissist may never reach out, while they may never come to you with the apology you deserve, you don't need that. You don't need their validation. You don't need their acknowledgement. What you need is to understand your own worth. You need to recognize that your value was never tied to their approval or their love. You are worthy because you exist. You are worthy because you gave, because you loved, because you saw the good in someone who didn't deserve it. And now you can walk away knowing that you gave your best, knowing that you did everything you could, and knowing that you don't need their recognition to validate your worth. The narcissist, on the other hand, will continue to chase an empty dream, forever looking for someone to fill the hole inside of them. They may find temporary relief in new people, new relationships, new distractions, but it will never be enough. They will never be able to replicate the depth of what you offered them. And that, my friends, is their punishment. That is their curse. They will live the rest of their lives in a cycle of loneliness, desperately trying to fill a void they created, all the while pretending that they are happy, that they are content, that they are better off without you. But you and I both know the truth. The truth is that no one will ever replace you. No one will ever love them the way you did. And deep down, they know that. They know they lost something priceless, and that regret will gnaw at them until the end of their days. But here's the thing. Don't waste another second waiting for them to reach out. Don't waste another moment thinking that they will ever come to their senses. They won't, and you don't need them to. You have already outgrown them. You have already moved on, whether they know it or not. You are stronger now. You are wiser. You are no longer the person they tried to shape you into. You are not the victim of their manipulation. You are the survivor, the one who walked away, the one who saw through their lies and decided to choose yourself instead. So, when they don't reach out, when they never come back, remember this. It's not a reflection of your worth. It's a reflection of theirs. It's a reflection of their inability to love, their inability to grow, and their inability to recognize something truly valuable when it's right in front of them. And while they will regret losing you, while they will never find anyone who can fill the space you left behind, you are moving forward, and that's what truly matters. You are building a life without them, a life that is not defined by their presence or absence, a life that is yours and yours alone. You see, in the end, the greatest revenge you can have is not to seek validation from someone who never deserved you. The greatest revenge is to walk away and live the life you were always meant to live. The greatest revenge is to thrive, to flourish, to find peace in knowing that you are better off without them. And as they watch from the sidelines, as they see you live the life they can never have, you will know that you have won. You will know that you are always the prize, always the one who is worth fighting for, always the one they let slip through their fingers. So trust me when I say that they regret losing you. But also trust me when I say this. You are better off without them, and that is a victory they can never take from you. The thing about the narcissists is that they have spent so much of their life perfecting the art of deception, not just with others, but with themselves. They have built a world so intricately designed that it requires constant upkeep, constant manipulation, constant validation from anyone around them. They need to be the center of attention, the one who shines, the one who is adored. And yet, underneath all the posturing and the inflated ego, there lies a deep, empty chasm, a chasm they fear to confront, a chasm they will do anything to avoid. It's that emptiness that drives them to manipulate, to control, to gaslight, to discard. And when you're gone, when you're no longer a part of their world, they're left staring into that abyss, knowing deep down that they have lost someone who could have filled it. But they will never admit it. They will never be the ones to ask for forgiveness because their fragile egos are more important than any genuine human connection. In many ways, their regret is a silent poison that they will carry with them every day, gnawing at them from the inside. It's not the kind of regret that leads to growth or change, though. It's the kind of regret that feeds their resentment, their pride, and their inability to admit fault. They will look back at the moments when they pushed you away, when they tested your loyalty, when they discarded you without so much as a second thought. And in those moments, a small, barely noticeable flicker of remorse will pass through them, but it will be drowned out by their need to protect their self-image. They cannot afford to show vulnerability, to admit that they were wrong, because that would mean revealing to the world and to themselves that they are not the infallible perfect beings they present to the world. So they bury that regret deep within, hiding it behind the walls of their pride, and continue to convince themselves that they are better off without you. But here's the crux of the matter. They know they aren't. They know they've lost something irreplaceable, something they will never get back. And that's the cruel irony of the narcissist's world. They will spend their lives accumulating temporary satisfactions, fleeting relationships, shallow victories, but they will never experience the kind of love you gave them. They will never experience the authenticity, the deep connection that you offered, and that realization will haunt them in ways they will never be able to articulate. It will eat away at them, quietly, steadily, until it becomes a part of them. And even though they may continue on, pretending everything is fine, pretending they are unbothered, the truth is that they will never find another like you. Now, let's talk about your side of this equation. You might still find yourself wondering why they didn't reach out, why they didn't apologize, why they didn't come back, groveling at your feet like they should have. And I'll tell you this, it's not because they didn't feel the loss, it's because they cannot afford to show it. You were never a person to them, you were an object, an extension of their narrative, a tool in their game. The moment you stopped playing, the moment you walked away, you became irrelevant to them, even though that's far from the truth. You were the one who saw them for who they were. You were the one who held up the mirror and reflected their true face back at them. And when you left, you shattered their illusion. In their twisted, self-centered world, they never expected you to be the one to walk away. You were supposed to remain loyal, forever at their beck and call, always available for their manipulation and their emotional needs. You were supposed to be the constant, the one person who would always be there, no matter how badly they treated you, but you didn't. You left, and in doing so, you stripped them of their greatest asset, the power they held over you. And that's why, despite their regrets, they will never reach out. To do so would be to admit weakness. To ask for your forgiveness would be to expose themselves for the fraud they truly are. So instead, they push those feelings of regret deep into their subconscious, where they can pretend they don't exist. But rest assured, they are there, festering and growing, turning into something dark and consuming. But while they are locked in their internal battle of pride and regret, you are free. You are free to move on. You are free to find peace, to heal, to reclaim the parts of yourself they tried to steal from you. You are free to rebuild your life in a way that serves your highest good, without the weight of their manipulation holding you back. And that's the real victory here. Not that they regret losing you, but that you were strong enough to walk away, to reclaim your power, and to realize that your value was never tied to their approval or validation. Think about that for a moment. When you were with them, you may have been blinded by their charm, their promises, their manipulation. You may have convinced yourself that they were the one for you, that you could fix them, that their love was worth fighting for. But in reality, their love was never real. Their affection was conditional, based on what you could provide them in that moment. The moment you stopped feeding into their needs, the moment you stopped playing their game, they discarded you like a used tissue. And that's because, in the narcissist's eyes, you were never truly a person. You were just a tool to serve their ego. And that's where the beauty of walking away lies. When you leave, you reclaim your autonomy. You stop being a pawn in someone else's game. You stop living according to their rules, according to their ever-changing whims. You take back control over your own life, and that is a power they can never take away from you. Yes, they will regret losing you. Yes, they will feel the sting of your absence. But that regret is theirs to carry, not yours. You have moved on. You have healed. You have taken the lessons learned from that painful experience and turned them into something stronger, something more powerful. You have become the person you were always meant to be, free from their chains. Let them regret losing you. Let them suffer the consequences of their own actions. But don't you dare allow their regret to be a weight around your neck. You have already suffered enough. You have already given them the best of you. You have already been hurt in ways that no one should have to endure. And now, you get to choose how you move forward. You get to choose your next chapter, and it is one that is free of their toxicity, free of their manipulation, free of their false promises. In time, they may try to reach out to you. They may try to slip back into your life under the guise of an apology or an offer of reconciliation. But remember this, nothing has changed. They have not changed. They will still be the same person who hurt you, who took you for granted, who never truly valued you. They will still be the person who treated you as if you were disposable. And the moment they realize that they cannot have you back, they will find someone new to manipulate, someone new to control, someone new to use. But you don't need them. You don't need their validation. You don't need their approval. You are enough on your own. You are stronger than they ever gave you credit for. And when they look back at their life, when they think of you and the love you gave, they will realize too late that they lost something that can never be replaced. But that's their burden to carry, not yours. You are moving forward. You are living your truth. And in the end, that is all that matters. In the end, the narcissist may regret losing you, but they will never admit it. Their pride, ego, and fear of vulnerability will keep them from reaching out, even though deep down, they know they've lost something irreplaceable. But that's their burden to carry, not yours. You've walked away, reclaimed your power, and found your worth. You no longer need their validation or approval to recognize your value. The real victory lies in your strength to move forward, free from their manipulation and toxicity. As they continue to chase fleeting distractions, you are building a life that honors your true self, one that they will never be a part of again. And that is the ultimate freedom.